Under the leadership of Joshua, Israel did reasonably well. But after Joshua's death, things began to fall apart. Israel went through repeated cycles of blessings and disciplines, a result of their disobedience and rebellion. Now, let's put this lesson in context. In the Hebrew tradition, the book of 1 Samuel is preceded by the book of Judges. Historically, Israel moved from the days of judges to leadership by a king. Now, the book of 1 Samuel records the process by which God provided his people with a king, and Hannah is important because Hannah is the mother of Samuel, who will designate God's choice for a king of Israel. Now, Elkanah is Jewish. He is a godly man, a descendant of Levi, who lives in the hill country of Ephraim. Elkanah has two wives, Hannah and Peninnah. Hannah is Elkanah's first wife and is loved but barren. Peninnah, the second wife, is unloved but fertile. Because of Hannah's status, Peninnah is jealous of Hannah. Every year, Elkanah, Peninnah, and her children, and barren Hannah go to Shiloh. It's about 20 miles north of Jerusalem, where the tabernacle is stationed. They go there to observe one of 3 annual festivals. This time is special. It's a time to rejoice, and sadness is prohibited. But for childless Hannah, rejoicing before the Lord is difficult during this time. Hannah is in shame, grief, and despair because of her barren status. And even worse, every year on this trek to Shiloh, Peninnah harasses Hannah without letting up. Hannah cries many tears and is not able to join in the festival meal. Elkanah tries to comfort her. Still, Hannah dreads the annual pilgrimage to Shiloh, where she must be close to her tormentor, Peninnah. On this trip to Shiloh, Hannah barely makes it through the meal in the face of her bully Peninnah's cruel actions. After eating and drinking, she hurries off from the family to find her way to the tabernacle, where she pours out her soul to God. Like many of us, she turns to God in a moment of utter despair, but she feels a little wronged by God. But Hannah still has faith, and so she prays, making a vow that at any other time she probably would not have made, saying, "Mighty God, if you look upon my pain, if you quit neglecting me, if you give me a son, I will give him entirely to you."
Remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but will give unto thine handmaid a man-child. Then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life.
I will set him apart for a life of holy discipline as a Nazirite. As she was praying silently, the priest Eli was sitting by the door, and he sees her moving her lips and praying and whispering with great despair. He's not hearing her words, and Eli jumps to the wrong conclusion, assuming that she has been celebrating too much and that she's drunk. He rebukes her from her drunkenness and instructs her to give up this kind of drinking, and Hannah quickly assures Eli that she's not drinking at all, but that she is pouring out her soul to the Lord. She's begging Eli not to condemn her as a worthless woman. Eli listens and assures Hannah that God will grant her petition and blesses her, saying, "Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you have asked of him." Hannah replies to Eli, "Think well of me and pray for me." From that time on, Hannah could enter into the worship celebration. She eats the meal. Her face is now radiant with joy rather than sorrow. Eli's words and sharing of faith enable Hannah to face her bully. Then and now, we have people, even relatives like Peninnah, people who exploit others' weaknesses and shame in a way to be cruel, tearing down others, hoping that it will make them feel better about themselves. But God can use our bullies to help us grow spiritually, to help us face challenges, recognize the source of our strength, to help us focus and commit to God, just as Hannah vowed to dedicate her son. And God still needs Eli's, those who will listen without assumption and judgment, as Eli eventually did, those who will understand grief and despair are the same regardless of race, gender, color, creed, national origin, or economic status. Those who understand that our Christian acts and words of compassion can still help bring hope out of despair and healing out of hurt. That's the lesson for this week. Have a great week. Bye.